Very good afternoon, everyone. For today's lecture, we're going to see the continuation of the last lecture, which is, the main differences between qualitative and quantitative. So we have gone through a few differences before, but now we continue with another 5 differences. The first one is the differences. We can see the differences in terms of in terms of the philosophy. What is the perspective of the qualitative and what is the quantitative. Okay, so I have briefed you before about, in qualitative, the philosophy is interpretivism. In quantitative is positivism. Okay, so let me explain after this. The difference number 7 is, the way you ask questions. When you design the objective of your research in Quali, many of the questions is how and also why. Because qualitative researcher, they are interested in the how question and also the reasons. For the quantitative, they're concerned about numbers, so that's why they ask how much. Okay, differences number 6 and number 8. The way to collect the data. For qualitative, data collection can be done through interview, through observation, and also document analysis. For the quantitative, the data collection method is through survey. Survey is you have your questionnaire and then you distribute your questionnaire to other people. Okay, whether in print form or through internet. You can also have experiments. For example, if you have new innovation, you want to know whether your innovation is good or not, is useful or not. So you can test it out, to your students. Okay, difference number 9. After this, I go with little more details, each of the differences. Okay, number 9 is the way to analyze the data in qualitative, through words, because you get the data, you ask questions, and then the participant will answer it. And after that, you take, the conversation, and then you write it. You write it in the transcript. We call it to transcribe, the transcribing process. Okay, and after that, you have to read it over and over again, and you summarize. The summary is called themes. Yeah. For quantitative, you analyze through numbers. For example, through mean and also through percentages. Okay. And difference number 10 is, how to ensure validity and reliability. Okay, let me go the first one, about the philosophy. All right. So we just concentrate on this because this is a qualitative one. So I think you remember last time I told you, these two big words, yeah. So positivism and also interpretivism, yeah. So this one, positivism, is quantitative, but this one is ours, qualitative, yeah. For qualitative, what is reality? So reality is contextual. Okay, contextual. That means depends on the people in that area. How do they see things? Okay, and how can we know reality? You know, how can we know reality? Okay, we know reality by asking questions through interview. Yeah, and during the interview, we get to know, you know, a unique person's perspective. Yeah, so whether it is true or not, yeah, we don't have much to say. Yeah, but we can assume that the perspective is true according to their perspective. All right. Okay. So that's why we have the methodology. Qualitative methodology is interview, observation, and document analysis. Yeah. So whenever we do the interview, document analysis, and so on, we need to have findings in the form of words and description. So data is not on the form of number, in the form of number, but in the form of words. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah. Now we look at the perspective. Okay. This is the quantitative one. Yeah. For the quantitative one, okay, how to generalize to big patterns. For example, yeah, you only research, your sample is only a few hundred people, but you want to say, you want to generalize for the whole population. Yeah. Okay. So from these 300 people, you make a conclusion from your research, and then you could say, yeah, this attitude, this characteristic is applicable to the whole population. Yeah. Although what you have studied is only 300 people. Yeah. Because that's the nature of the quantitative. Okay. For the qualitative one, okay, so this is the qualitative with the green arrow here. All right. So this is the thing. Qualitative researcher, I want to see the world through the eyes of the respondents, you know, their perspective. How do they see things, you know? And then number two, I want to describe the context in a lot of details. I want to know everything. Yeah. That's why I ask you many questions. I need a lot of example. Yeah. I need you to give some clarification, some example in order for me as a researcher to understand, yeah, to understand what's going on. All right. Okay. Number three, I want to show how change occurs. I'm interested in how things come to be. Yeah. The qualitative researcher want to see, you know, how social change affects one individual. Yeah. So how to know that? By interviewing the person. Yeah. And then when the person answer the question, he or she will describe things, and that make you understand about how the social change occurs. Okay, and then number four, I really want my research approach to be flexible and able to change. Okay. Okay. For qualitative study, okay, the structure is not so rigid. Yeah, it is very flexible. Okay, so you can ask questions, and the way you ask questions depending on how you see the participants. If the participant is a, a, a clever person, so you can ask, you know, a big question to them. But if the the participant is a child or probably young people. So you can ask questions that is appropriate to them. Yeah, and then we go to next one. Okay, in research questions we have difference. Okay, so what is the difference? For the qualitative, we are interested to ask the how questions and why questions. How is about process, how the process occur, how the change occur, and we also interested to see why. Yeah, why is about, for example, the motivation. What motivates someone to do this and that? Okay. In quantitative, they are more interested in what and how much. So you can see that in their research objective, they have, okay, for example, what kind of activities do you do during your leisure time? Okay. How much, how frequent you watch television? So that sort of question when you do the quantitative. Okay, so you see the differences. So this is, you see the green arrow, qualitative, and then the red arrow is the quantitative. Okay, so you see the difference. The same object, which is a bookshelf, yeah, or the bookcase here, and also the same bookcase, but the data you get from there is different. For the qualitative one, okay, when you observe the bookcase, you can see, yeah, your first finding is the bookcase is made of wood. Okay. Second finding, it was built in Italy. Okay, so the origin of the bookcase, it is made in Italy. Number three, finding number three, it is a deep brown. So the color is deep brown. Okay, not just brown, but deep brown, very, very brown. Okay, findings number four, it has golden notes. Okay, so this is the note, and it is golden one. So the color is golden one. Okay, and then findings number five, it smells like oak. Yeah. Okay, so you cannot smell here. Yeah, but this is the description. If you see, if you look from a very, very close perspective, you can smell. Yeah, so the smell is like oak. Okay, and it has a smooth finish. So it is shiny. The bookcase is shiny because it has a smooth finish. Okay, what about the quantitative one? Okay, so the quantitative data that you get from this bookcase is first, because everything is about measurement. So that's why you have first the measurement of the height. So it is 3 feet tall. Okay. Findings number two. The weight is 100 pounds. Okay. Okay. The weight is 100 pounds. Okay. Findings number three. It has 15 books on it. So if you count how many books, it is 15 books. So that's your findings. Yeah. Findings number four, it has 3 shelves. Okay. Shelf number one, shelf number two, and shelf number three. So 3 shelves. Okay. And then findings number five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 2 cabinets. Okay. So this is the first cabinet, and this is the second cabinet. Okay, and it sells for $1,500. $1,500. Yeah. So you have to times 4 to get the Malaysian ringgit. I don't know about the Chinese currency. Malaysia, you have times 3. Yeah. So around times 3 or times 4. Yeah. Okay. So these are the difference between qualitative data and quantitative data. Okay, if you have any question, you can just ask, unmute and ask questions. Yeah. Okay, now we go to the next one, next example. Okay, now here is quantitative data. This is the qualitative data. Yeah. For the qualitative data is, everything that you can use your senses in order to observe the result, the color of the things, yeah, or the smells and so on, yeah. So this is what you can capture using your 5 senses. But for quantitative one, concern about the measurement. Okay, so quantitative data are made with instruments such as rulers, balancers, cylinders, beakers, thermometers, and so on. These results are measurable. From the quantitative data, you have graphs. In order to show your result, you can use the chart or the graph like here. You can use rulers. For temperature, you have numbers in here. Okay, so if numbers are somewhere here, so that means it is very, very hot, But if the indication shows that, the temperature today is, below this, so it is very, very cold. Okay, now we go to the third example. Yeah, the third example is about the painting. So, so what are the differences between the qualitative data and the quanti data? Okay, so we read the overview first. For the qualitative data, so you can see here from the green arrow here. Yeah, so I have specified green arrow is just for qualitative, red arrow is just for quantitative. Yeah, for qualitative, it deals with descriptions. So you try to describe things. Okay, data can be observed but not measured. Okay, so you could say the car is blue, yeah, but you cannot measure the color. Yeah, so you just say blue, yeah, or big or small. Okay, so it deals with things like colors, textures, smells, taste, appearance, beauty, and so on. Yeah. So if you say the car is very beautiful, so you just say it's a beautiful, it's very beautiful. Yeah. You cannot put a number. Yeah. For example, it is grade 9 in terms of beauty. So you don't say that. Yeah. So in qualitative, it's just, description of things. Yeah. Okay. For example, you have the painting, So in qualitative data, when you observe the painting, you have these findings. First, it is blue and green color. Okay, so you have look at the picture there. So you see the sky is blue and you see the scenery. Okay, so a lot of greens here because there are many trees, there are grass, in here. Okay, so blue and green. Okay, another thing is just look outside the picture so you can see the frame. Okay, so this is the frame, and the frame, you know, the color is gold, so gold frame. Okay, finding number 2, it smells old and musty. Yeah, so it looks like you know, old thing. Yeah, so the smell is a bit different. Okay, number 3, texture shows brush strokes of oil paint. So you can see the way how the painter paints the picture. Okay, and then when you see the picture, you feel the peacefulness, the tranquility. So you have peaceful scene of the country. Yeah. So this is in the countryside. You know, you wouldn't get it if you go to the big cities. Yeah. So you go to the countryside. Only in the countryside you have the beautiful scenery like this. Okay. So peaceful scene of the country. Yeah, country means, you know, not in the city, uh, but in the interior part, yeah, of the country. All right. Okay. So let's have a look at the quantitative data. And I read the overview first. You know, for quantitative data, it deals with numbers. It can be measured. Can be measured. And for example, measurement in terms of length, you know, so you could see, you know, the length of the picture, you know, how big is the picture, the height, you know, the frame is, you know, the height of the frame, the area, the volume, the weight, yeah, the weight, the speed, the time, the temperature, humidity, sound level, the cost, how much is it, you know, and so on. Okay, so example of the quantitative data. So you have picture is 10 inches by 14 inches. So that's the measurement. Frame 14 inches by 18 inches. So also the, you know, measurement. Yeah. And it weighs 8.5 pounds. Yeah. Okay, this is the British unit, you know. It's the now used in American. The European now use metric system, kilogram. Okay, so the surface area and also the cost is $300. All right, so all of these are quantitative data. Okay, let me go to the next page. Okay, next page, please. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, next page is you know, how you analyze the data. So there are differences. All right. Okay, so we have this. Okay, difference number 8. different way of collecting data. Okay, in green, yeah, the green color for qualitative, the red color for quantitative. Yeah, in Quali, the way to collect data is through interview, observation. You see things and make notes about what you have seen. Yeah, and then document analysis. You have the document, and then you analyze the content. So this is the qualitative. For quanti, you do the survey. How to do the survey? You have your questionnaire, and then you distribute to other people. Ask them to fill in the questionnaire. Yeah? And after that, you collect the questionnaire and you enter the data in SPSS. Okay, you know SPSS? Okay, it is software in order to to analyze the data. Okay, what about the experiment? Okay, so you must have intervention or innovation. Okay, you want to see the effectiveness of your innovation. Okay, so you have, for example, two classes of students, two groups of students. Yeah, for the first one, you implement the innovation there. The second one, it is as usual. You don't have to try your new innovation there. It is just as a control group. Yeah, and then take the score before, and then take the score after, and then make comparison between the two groups. You know. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, these are the qualitative data. Yeah. So you interview. So interview, you have one-to-one interview. Only two people, you and one person. You could also have many people. You can interview many people. So we call it the focus group interview. Yeah, one person, interviewer, researcher, and then you have, for example, 10, 11, 12 participants. Okay, so you ask questions one by one. You go to one person and the next person, yeah, until the end. And then after that, you ask second question, third question, and so on. Okay, so you also have observation. Yeah, if you, for example, if you do the ethnography, so you have to go to, for example, to see the culture of a tribal group. So you go there and you live with them for a few weeks. You collect the data, you observe, their everyday life, yeah, their ritual, and so on. And your observation, you tape or you make videos or you write down what you have seen. All right. Okay. Okay. Now we go to the number 9. Okay. Okay. So the differences in terms of how to analyze data. How to analyze data. In qualitative, we analyze using themes, and we also need to tape the conversation. Why? Because we need to include their quotation. You know, uh, for example, they say very, very important things, and we need to rewrite what they have seen. So that's why we need to tape the conversation, to record the conversation. Okay. For quantitative, the way to analyze is through numerical comparison, where you have percentages or you have mean. Okay, so you could analyze from that. Okay, for the qualitative one, in order to analyze the data, yeah, so normally you do the thematic analysis. Okay, this is theme and analysis. Yeah, so the analogy is, for example, when you hear in a conversation, okay, from the conversation you try to summarize it. Yeah, so you have number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. You know, these points are theme, THEME, theme. So we call this thematic analysis. Okay, so these are the steps in order to do the thematic analysis. First is to familiarize yourself with your data. Okay, make yourself familiar. Okay, you get the data. For example, you have interviewed the person, you write it down, and then you read your transcript. Okay, you know, transcript is the documents. When you rewrite, the conversation. Okay, that writing is called transcript. Transcript. So familiarize yourself with your data. How? So you have to read many times in order to make it familiar. Yeah, to make yourself familiar with the data. Number 2, assign codes to your data in order to describe the content. Okay, so here is the picture. Okay, not this one, the other one. Yeah. Okay, so this how you put the coding. Okay, for example, if you say, okay, this is very important and it means something. Yeah. All right, so you highlight this. Yeah, and then you create a label called Mentor Identify Focus of Attention. Yeah, and then for the next paragraph, okay, this is you think it's important and it's means something to you, so you need to label it. Yeah, so this is the purple one. Yeah, okay, so the process goes on. Sometimes you have a long sentence, sometimes you have a short sentence like this, and sometimes it is repeated. So you have, the yellow here and another one here. Actually, you don't have to use color. Yeah. Now we are using a software called NVivo. Yeah. So using NVivo is very easy, very user friendly. Okay, this one is just to visualize. If we are to do manually, so it is goes something like this. So you need to highlight and then write down the labels or the codes of this group of words. Okay, so let's go to the points. Okay, so that's number 2, how you create codes to your data. Yeah. Number 3, search for patterns or themes in your code. From the codes there, you need to think hard in order to see the patterns. Yeah, to see the patterns. And after that, you can compare from one person you have interviewed with the other person. Yeah. Okay. You have interviewed both of them, but you have to make a comparison whether they have a similar or different patterns. Okay. Number 4, you review the themes. Okay. So you see the themes again, and if you think you need to change it or update it, yeah, so you can change it or update it. Yeah, because it is so dynamic, it is so evolving, so probably it changes few times, you know, before you get the final one. Okay, number 5, define and name themes. Okay, so you need to update, and after that you come up with a final theme. So, so what are the themes? So that's your final findings, yeah. And after that, when everything is confirmed, you produce your report. Okay, so let's go one by one. In order to show this, I have some pictures. Okay, okay, these are the steps. Okay, so you have interviewed a person, for example. Okay, so when you interview them, you tape them, you record the conversation. Yeah, so you use you know, special recorder, micro cassette, and so on. Okay, and you need to transcribe. Transcribe means write it down. Yeah, verb, word by word, exactly what are being said. So you write it down word by word. You don't change it. You don't summarize it. You just have to write it word by word. Yeah. So word by word is called verbatim. Verbatim. Yeah. Verbatim. Can I write it here? Verbatim. No. Okay, it's all right. Yeah. verbatim. Okay. So that means you have to transcribe exactly according to what is being said. Okay, word by word. All right. Okay, and after that, we do the coding and we analyze. Okay, see, so manually, for example, you highlight certain phrases, certain sentence, and then you put a label here. So this is the code. Yeah, so this is the code. Okay, and from the codes there, you see the pattern. So you have something like this. Yeah, and then you go further, and then you analyze further. So you probably have something like this. All right, so this one is for quantitative. So I think I just skip this one, because in order to do the analysis, what you have to do is to okay, the level of analysis, okay, to measure. So you have the mean, you have the median, you have the mode, percentage, frequency, range, and so on. Yeah, and after that you can do inferential analysis. Yeah, so we call it, there are two levels in quantitative. First is descriptive, and second one is inferential. Okay. Okay. So we don't have to talk much about this, because our course is qualitative, not quantitative. All right. So I mentioned about you know, as a process of coding, as a process of analyzing, we need to do the coding. So what is coding? Coding is labels. Labels. Yeah. Coding is labels. So you just put a label, you know, you have one or two sentences, okay, you highlight it, and you try to conceptualize it, okay. What does the paragraph, what does the sentence shows? What does it mean to you? So you need to write down the coding. You want to label the phenomenon. All right, so this is the example that I have shown you before. Okay, so these are the sentences that you are interested in, and the yellow one is represented by the theme. So this is the theme. Yeah, you could also write it here, it doesn't matter. So it's just a way to analyze it. Okay. Okay, this is another way. Okay, for example, this, and then you put a coding here, your label and your coding. Yeah. So here you have this. Okay. In the end, when you try to see the list of codes, you try to make sense. So probably you can see some patterns there. All right, this is another way. Okay. Here, so these are the theme, the codes. These are the codes. This is the source, the conversation, the sentence, and these are the codes. Yeah. Or something like this. Yeah. It is the same. You know. Okay. So you have the codes here. Okay. So you don't write code 1, code 2, code 3. Okay. Just put, for example, code 1 is about leadership. Code 2 is about human relations. Code 3 is about motivation. Code 4 is about challenges. So that's our example of the codes. Okay. All right. So you have something like this. Yeah. Codes, codes 1, code 2. And when you see the patterns, you could categorize it. Category 1, category 2, 4, 3, 4, and category 1 and 2, it means something. It is in theme 1. Okay. Category and 3 and 4, you further conceptualize it. It is within the theme number 2. Okay, for example, when you interview people, what are your hobbies? You know, so the person you interview give many answers. Okay, for example, they like to play football. You know, they like to sing. They like to play badminton. I think badminton is also popular in China. Yeah, so China and Indonesia is competing fiercely in badminton. Yeah. Okay, and you also say that your respondent also say that they like to to visit places of attraction. They like to go to countryside and so on. So whenever you see the codes there, you can categorize into two. Yeah, that is, first is sport. Yeah, because they mention about badminton, they mention about football and so on. So that's sport. Okay, and your second category is recreation. Remember, whenever you ask them what you like to do in your free time, and they answer they like to go to places of attraction, they like to go to countryside, to see the waterfall and so on. So that's category 2. Yeah. So that's the category 2. And after that, you could conceptualize further category 1 and category 2 into theme 1. Yeah. Okay. For example, theme 1 is uh, sport and recreation. Yeah. Sport and recreation. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay. So you you see things like this. Team 1, personal well-being. Team 2, rational well-being. Team 3, collective well-being. These are among the example of your result. Yeah. So you get this team because whenever you interview, you have these sub-teams like this. The experiences told by your respondents. Yeah. So you put this together, and it is called personal well-being, and personal well-being is your team number 1. Yeah. Team number 2 is relational well-being, and there are 3 sub-teams there: friendship, family, lecturers. Okay. And the team number 3, you call it, okay, when you analyze it, you see the pattern. So you have one term, which is collective well-being, and it describes the sub-themes, which are challenging working environment, okay, lack of role models, and then incongruence between theory and practice. Okay, so theory and practice give different understanding. It's not the same. Yeah. So you state that as your sub-themes. Okay, so these are other example. So in order to visualize, to make your data credible, in your findings, in your writing, you need to write down the actual quotation, and these are the actual quotation. Yeah. So whenever you say your team is psychological distress, and then you need to include the quotation to show this team, how psychological distress happens. For example, one participant says, "It was always on my mind. Why was this happening to me?" So these are examples to show that there is a psychological distress. Yeah. Okay. So second theme, sexual problems. So you have the quotation there, and then relationship difficulties. Yeah. All right. So for example, you capture, the statement from one of your participants in order to show that this team exists. Yeah. It's mostly affected the relationship that I have with my husband. The relationship has gone downhill. All right. So it's going from bad to worse. Yeah. Go down, go down the hill. Okay. So this is to show your team relationship.